There's a woman on the show, and she bought the aroma wheel. It was given to her by the creator. Her name was Isabel Lechev, and she teaches tasting classes. She was a chemist. I believe she was a chemist, and she worked for the large beverage companies. I think it was Coca-Cola, on formulation. And she teaches these online classes. I wondered if you'd heard of her, if you've talked to her about it, because it's sort of it's not data driven. Well, it might be though. I can't. She takes the wheel, and maybe she's moved into more chemistry. Anyway, just the thought that I was thinking about. Do you think then, and we're almost out of time, oddly, that the future of the wine trade is going to be almost entirely dependent upon this going forward, or is there still a chance for the dreamer and the romanticist to go into Napa and buy $1 million worth of land and get 15 square feet for that $1 million, and then develop a brand around what they think it should be?
Yeah, I've actually had this conversation, topics like this outside of the wine industry. So I think on a mass scale, right, for the industry, I don't think there's going to be a choice, right? You have to adapt and use technology, right? It's kind of like 20 years ago, people were laughing, saying, I don't need a cell phone. I don't need a cell phone. Why do I have to carry this heavy brick in my pocket? There's no point. Or if you walked into an office building in New York City 40 years ago, and they said you need a computer to do your job, people would laugh at you, right? Now it's pretty much ubiquitous. That is, technology is making things better, and it's solving a lot of problems and making things more efficient, and it is inevitable. Some industries might take longer than others, but it's going to happen, and you're going to have to adapt. This is not just for wine, this is basically for everything. As time goes on, as humans in a, advanced civilization or whatever you want to call it. At the same time, there's also going to be a luxury product component and human, and by the way, I'm not trying to say we're just a tool for humans to make wine, but I'm just saying, like, a Bentley is a handcrafted car, right? For example, where the car maker signs every part, the person responsible for that part signs every part to make that car, right? There's handmade watches, there are luxury products that are always going to have that artisan handcrafted appeal to it, and they're going to appeal to a small percentage of the population who are enthusiasts, and that will be done a little bit differently. So I think that there's going to be a luxurious demand for human-made products in various industries. But like I said, our AI doesn't focus on just making wine. We focus on exposing it. So depending on what you're trying to accomplish, there's a tool for it. But overall, that's where I think things are headed. So not trying to mischaracterize things, but that's my
No,
vision.
but I think it's an important piece.
Yeah.
I need to get a book. I want to ask you a question real fast, but the reason being, the concept always has been if you're not using some of the latest tools and your competitors are, and so that's going to give them advantage. And I can't imagine any businessman today, though there's probably most, that don't have GT on their phones open to just figure something out. I have a niece who started a salad dressing company, and she's just in the throes of trying to brand it. You get it branded, and she says, I have it open, all the time, because there's a lot of things I don't know what to do, and I ask it questions, and and that's just the simplest form of AI. And here's a very granular, sophisticated form. But I want to ask you a question. This is kind of fun. This is sort of tongue in cheek. We're going to wrap this up. We're at 47 minutes. This is a book. It's called Wine is the Best Medicine, written by Dr. E. Murray. This is from the 70s.
Wow.
It's a list of maladies, human maladies. And it's kind of like this question. And by the way, I give you 3 choices. And so far, the running percentage of people getting it right is exactly 33%. So usually it's a guess. But there's a bunch of allergies or anemia or bronchitis or diarrhea, fever, gout. These are all maladies that he has a recommended wine to cure, or at least to minimize the symptoms, and a dosage. And so this question is more like the Master of Wine test, where you would be asked the question, but we want to know why you chose that answer. So
Okay.
wrong or right, it doesn't matter. It's like, tell me what you thought the answer, why it was the answer.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah, and these are all French wines, by the way. So let's pick, so nervous depression. If we, a contemporary subject at worst, right? Nervous depression. We're not going to take Xanax or Ativan. We're going to have a wine to solve this problem.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Like I had a PhD on the show, and she says, well, regardless of the answer, you're going to feel better anyway. So what the heck? You could have a dry champagne, a Medoc Red, or a Cote de Beaune to help your nervous depression, and why? And then we have a dosage issue we got to deal with.
Dosage. Okay. I'm a little nervous.
No, don't be nervous. There's no, like I said, that like no one's really got the questions right because you're not the doctor who wrote the book, so you're gonna know.
Okay, so you want me to pick one of the three?
Yes, one of the three: the Medoc, dry champagne, or Beaune.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out, does the Medoc or the Beaune have the highest resveratrol content? Because I know that resveratrol shuts down certain depression-causing enzymes in the brain, and I'm forgetting their name right now. But the one with the highest amount of resveratrol, whichever of the two reds it is, personally, I would choose bubbles because that's what people call me when I drink sparkling wine, and I'm very bubbly.
Oh, you changed personality. Yeah. You become a scientist anymore?
Exactly. I get very bubbly. So bubbles to be bubbly sounds intuitively right, but I know the resveratrol would have actual effects on the brain that are beneficial for happiness.
I mean, though you were nervous about this, you're the most granular in your objective and in your description of why you chose the wines, though it was wrong. But despite that, it's very funny because I taught my son-in-laws about proper champagne, and now it's costing me a fortune. But the answer was the Medoc, and I suppose from the resveratrol point of view, it would have more because of the skin content and the color of it. But and the reason here, according to Dr. Murray, is the glycerin contains for the intestine with the phosphates of the fermented grape juice to form glycerol phosphates of natural lime, which have tonic virtues and which do not interfere with the functional integrity of the nervous system. Whatever. Now,
I need this book.
oh, this is great. It's called I've got, this is my father's, but I did find it online. And then there's also videos of the guy online, Dr. Murray.
I really need, I'd like this in my collection. This is very interesting.
It is on eBay. I found it on eBay, but the one I bought on eBay was in French, but I can read French, so it's okay. But there's a dosage. This is probably the most important part. What do you think the dose is?
I would say a full glass, but the definition of full glass can vary.
Well, it says 2 glasses before and during meals, so that would probably get you to a bottle a day, which can't be bad, right?
You need a really big glass.